So what's the predicate logic setup going to be? Well, first of all, it's going to use variables, but it's going to use lowercase variables, number one. And number two, most of the time that you're going to see, one especially I use in my notes, they're going to be very simple variables like X, Y, and Z. It's not like programming where he asks you, hey, try to make your variables meaningful and give some type of name so we know what the heck's going on. You're really not going to see that in this. So just a heads up. And it's usually going to be lowercase because the function itself is usually going to use an uppercase letter. By the way, it doesn't always have to be F. It could be P, M. You're going to see a whole bunch of different things later on, but it's usually going to be a capital letter. And you're going to see parentheses around it, maybe more than one variable in there that accepts, but still, very similar to what you've seen before. The other things that you're going to start seeing, and one of them I'm going to be covering here in a little bit, so bear with me here, but one term that you're going to hear is domain. And that's the possible parameter values that you're supposed to be expecting from, well, passing into that function. You've done this in validation. It's the same type of thing. It's also called a universe. It gives all the possible values that it should be. Well, it should be passed in. And we can actually be specific about it using some of our symbols and discrete math overall logic. We can be specific, something less than 0, or we can be generic and have all integers. Now, you're actually going to see a symbol for all integers, but still, we can start to kind of, well, mold and validate what we want to have placed into our predicate function. What you're also going to see in many textbooks and everything else like that is basically a breakdown like this. And the reality here is the function. Now, it's a propositional function, but we're getting more into, hey, we're going to have to use some predicate stuff here as well. So here is our function name. You've seen this before where we have some type of condition, and then we know that's going to return some type of true or false, a predicate function because of the condition. Now, there's our predicate logic with our x is greater than 0. We've seen that before. And then in English, we're going to have let p of x denote x is greater than 0. You're going to see this part a ton in your homework, some here in the notes and everything else like that. But that's the overall setup. So I've broken it up into 3 different examples for you. But again, this is not meant to be hard, it's just set up so far.